Hi everyone, I'm Miranda and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be sharing a book haul with you, some books that I've got recently that I think you'll enjoy hearing about as well. And also I'm going to do some of my favourite things from May, because I know many of you like hearing about some of my non-book recommendations as well. So a general favourite things and then a book haul for you today. So let's start with a few beauty products. A few people have asked me what I use for my hair. And to be honest, I'm very low maintenance when it comes to hair. I generally just let it air dry as much as possible, and I don't do anything that fancy with it. I try to just not use too much heat. I do curl it a bit, but I try to just let it air dry. And I don't use many products on it either. And in fact, my favourite shampoo and conditioner are just from Marks and Spencer's. But I really like this shampoo and conditioner set. It's just the M&S label. And this one, the green one, they also have a yellow set, but my favourite is the green. And it's moisturising and strengthening. Restores balance for shine and radiance. Well, I don't know about that, but I find it's a really nice shampoo and conditioner. I do wash my hair every day. I know that a lot of people don't like to do that, but my hair just really needs it, and I feel best when I wash it every day, and this is quite a gentle shampoo for that, and I really like it. And then about twice a week or so, I use this. It's a sea salt scrub cleanser, and it's by Davines. And I find this a really nice product. It has sea salt in it, so it's a little bit gritty, and it just feels really good to sort of clean your scalp as well as your hair, and it makes your hair very light and clean feeling. I also find it gives my hair a bit more of a natural wave when I use it, and it just tends to look extra nice after I've used this salt scrub. You use it like a shampoo, or at least I do. It's fine to use that way for my hair, and I just really like how it makes my hair look, and it's always very soft and nice afterwards. So these are the products that I buy and use for my hair, and I thought you might be interested in them too, but like I said, I am pretty low maintenance about it. And then my other little beauty thing that I've been really loving lately is this lip balm by Penhaligon's. Let's see if you can see that. It's the violet lip balm, and they also do a rose one, but I thought I would try violet first, and I really like it. Penhaligon's is a British perfumer, and so this smells absolutely gorgeous. You can see it's violet to match the name, but it sort of really melts on the lips, and it's got a beautiful scent. But what I like is that it doesn't taste of anything. You know how some lip balms can really taste of peppermint, or they can taste a bit sugary and sweet. This one doesn't taste of anything, but it has a lovely scent to it, which you would expect from a perfume company, but it's not too sort of sickly sweet, I don't think. I think it's just lovely. And I like that there's no taste to the lip balm, but it feels really nice on my lips. It really melts on. So I think I'm going to get the rose one soon too, and probably have that one on my bedside table. This one I have by my chair downstairs in the living room, just so I remember to put it on, because I suffer from getting quite dry lips and chapped lips. So I'm always trying to remember to put lip balm on. And it's nice when I find a lip balm that's just a real pleasure to use. I tend to use it more then, and I really am enjoying this. So I think at some point I'll get the rose one too. They're like violet and rose creams. A bit less naughty, but the sort of, the idea is there. And then I've told a lot of you about the Elizabeth Harbour wooden ornaments. I've shared these in my Christmas videos, for instance, when I've decorated my Christmas tree, because I've used a lot of her wooden hanging ornaments, and I also use them in the spring for my Easter tree. So I know a lot of you know about her ornaments already through my channel, but you might not know about her brooches as much, and I really like her brooches, and she's just released a few new ones, and one of them I spotted as being one of my very favourite decorations that I've bought from her. I'm so pleased she's now made it into a brooch. Let me show you closer up so you can see that. This little lady gardener I think is just adorable, and it's such a nice brooch to wear in the spring and summer. So I was really thrilled to get this, and her products I think are very reasonable. They make lovely little gifts as well for anyone in your life, and they're also just a nice gift to yourself too. So I was so thrilled to get that brooch. And then a lot of you ask me about stationery all the time, so I thought I would share a new stationery company that I discovered recently, because I do like the idea of some of these stationery subscription services when you can subscribe and get some stationery every month, and I've been having a look and trying to decide which one I might want to subscribe to, and I thought I would test out some products first. Let me know if any of you do this, by the way, if you subscribe to a stationery box or service like that, and if you have any recommendations. But the one I want to share is by a Yorkshire-based artist, so it's nice to support someone who's in Yorkshire, and her name is Brooke Marie. As always, I'll link everything in the description box. And I ordered some cards from her first, a little set of cards, just to see if I liked her style before subscribing. But I have subscribed to her stationery box, so I'll get the first one in June, and I'll probably update you then in my June favourite things. But I ordered this little set of cards, just floral set, you know how I like my florals, and I thought how pretty these were. So these will be lovely for some birthdays coming up, and also to use in my photos and things like that. But really nice quality paper that these are printed on, and I just think they're such pretty illustrations. So I'm going to have a go at trying out the stationery box for this. I'm excited about that. So that was something lovely. And then I wanted to share a book set with you. This is a set of some Miss Marple Agatha Christie books. And oh, I just missed one. Here we are. So they've done a few titles. These are being published, I think, in the States, so they're more easily available there. And they're doing a lot more titles than this, but these are available on Book Depository. So they're the ones I've been able to get so far. And it's the Miss Marples, which I'm thrilled about because I adore the Miss Marple mysteries. They're my favourite, generally, of Agatha Christie. And I love these editions with the beautiful floral covers. They've done Murder at the Vicarage, The Body in the Library, A Pocket Full of Rye, and A Murder is Announced. They Do It with Mirrors, and The Moving Finger. I think that they're just really, really beautifully done. I can't remember the name of the artist, but I know that she also did the cover of a Dorothy Wordsworth biography that I showed It must have been in my what to read in either March or April video, I can't quite remember, but either of those videos I showed a Dorothy Wordsworth biography, and it has a lovely cover with daffodils on it, and it's by the same artist. So I think these are fabulous, and actually I don't have physical copies of many Agatha Christie books, even though she's one of my favourite writers, and I listen to the mysteries all the time on Audible, so I tend to reread them that way. But generally, because the editions of her books have been quite ugly in the past, or just not particularly nice, I've often, if I've ever bought them, I've tended to sort of take them to charity shops at various times in my life, and I just haven't really kept hold of them very much. So even though I love her books, I don't have physical copies of that many of them. So I was really thrilled to be able to get so many Miss Marples in a lovely edition. So I thought some of you might like that as well, and I wanted to bring your attention to these books. I've also featured them on my Instagram account as well, but I wanted to talk about them on here too. And then I was sent a couple of cookbooks by Welbeck publisher, which I was thrilled about. There's this one, Postal Bakes by Lucy Burton, and funnily enough, I was just reading an article about this cookbook in the Simple Things magazine and thought how fun it sounded. The whole idea behind this is that Lucy Burton shares recipes that you can bake in one tin, and all of these things you can send through the post. So there are a lot of recipes for brownies and blondies and sort of flat bakes generally, and biscuits. And Lucy gives tips on how to package these things and send them off to a friend. The recipes sound really good, and I was intrigued by the article in the Simple Things magazine, and then coincidentally the publisher got in touch with me and asked if I wanted this cookbook, and I said yes please. And what's really exciting is they're actually going to let me share one of the recipes from here on my blog. So I have to buy all the ingredients and make it and all of that, but once I have time to do that, I will be posting a recipe that I've chosen from here on my blog so I can share it with all of you too. So I'm really excited about that. So is my best friend, who's going to be getting some of these baked goods in the post. So I thought, I'll try out the whole system. I'll bake it and also try sending it in the post. So yeah, I'm excited about that. And then Welbeck also sent me this cocktail recipe book, which is called Home Bar by Andy Clark, with over 60 cocktail recipes. This looks really fun, especially with the long evenings coming. My mum and I love to make a nice little drink for ourselves, like on a Friday evening, for instance, and just sit out on the lawn and feel really relaxed and have a nice tipple of something. And this book looks like it's full of great cocktail recipes, and quite a few I've earmarked as looking fairly straightforward, which will be good for us, but really tasty. And again, the publisher is allowing me to pick a recipe from here and share it on my blog. So again, when I have time, I will be making it, photographing it and posting it soon. So yeah, keep an eye out on my blog, which I'll link in the description box too, for some of these recipes coming up. I'm really pleased that I'm able to share a couple with you. And then one other thing that I wanted to talk about as a favourite thing is I've been thinking more and more, or I've become more interested in being able to rent clothing and trying out some of those sorts of services. When I've looked into it in the past, a lot of the places that I found just seem so incredibly expensive that it really hasn't seemed worth it to me at all. And they had a lot more just evening wear and things like that, and I was interested more in being able to rent a wider range of clothing than that. And I found a make recently, I think it's called Bookgen, something like that. I will link all of this. But I rented one of their dresses to try out the service, and it was really good. I really enjoyed doing it. I'm not sure if I'm completely won over to renting. I'll put some pictures of me in the dress here. You've seen me in it actually in the Comfort Book Club discussion in April, of the Enchanted April. I was wearing the dress, and then I took a few photos of me in the dress, so I'll pop them there so you can see it. But if you're interested in shopping for clothing in a bit more of a sustainable way, or you're interested in having the option to rent rather than buy sometimes for whatever reason, then I would recommend having a look at their rental service. And I really liked the dress that I got, and sometimes it's nice to be able to rent some different dresses but not always have to buy them and spend out that sort of full amount of money as well. But it can be a nice way to still update your wardrobe a little bit, especially with a new season, without having to invest loads. So if you're interested in that, then I'll pop the details in the description box. But like I said, this is still something I'm looking into. I'm particularly interested in rental services that are still reasonable, but that offer nice clothing and good choices. So this is something I'm trying to investigate. And it seems to me that more fashion brands are starting to do this and are generally thinking a bit more about how to be more sustainable with fashion. So I'm hoping this will become a bit of a wider thing, and I'm keeping my eye out as to what brands might be doing this. Again, if you have any recommendations for me, please do let me know. But anyway, those have been my recent favourite things. Let's move on to the book haul. Okay, so I've got some fabulous books to share with you. First up is this special edition of The Uncommon Reader by Alan Bennett. This is the Hatchards edition. Hatchards is a lovely bookshop in London. It's the oldest bookshop in London, and it's one of my favourites. And sometimes they publish special editions of books. This one has beautiful end papers, very William Morris. And I love this little novella. It's such a fun read. And of course, with the Jubilee coming up at the very start of June, I recommend this one if you want to read a book that's Jubilee inspired, because this is about the Queen of England and it's about her becoming a reader. One day she accidentally stumbles across a little travelling library in, I think, Buckingham Palace grounds, and she decides to try a book, and more she becomes an utterly avid reader, and some of her duties begin to suffer a little bit because of this. But there's a lot of humour. I first read this years and years ago, and this is on my list of books that I want to reread, and especially with the Jubilee coming up, this is a book I'm going to be reading soon. I'm looking forward to returning to it. I think Alan Bennett originally wrote this for the London Review of Books, the magazine. So which I hadn't realised before, which is interesting. But I remember I bought it a long time ago. I had a hardback edition then, and I'm not sure I still have it. So I was really happy to see that a special edition has come out, and I was thrilled to pick it up. But yeah, one I do recommend. And then Virago Publisher sent me the latest Nancy Spain mystery, in the Month. And this looks like a really great read. Virago have been bringing out some of Nancy Spain's Golden Age mysteries over the past few years. I think this is the 4th or 5th that they've republished now. It looks really summery. It actually begins in February, this one, but I'm looking forward to picking it up soon. I enjoyed Death on Skis, which was the first one they brought out a while ago now, and I have to catch up on the others, but I'm really looking forward to reading this one too. I love Golden Age crime, and so it's always good to discover a new author within that genre. So I'm excited about this. And then the publisher sent me a proof copy of this upcoming Jill Hornby book, which is Godmersham Park. And I don't know, oh yes, I do have her other book actually right behind me in the bookcase, which is good. So I'd really enjoyed Miss Austen by Jill Hornby, which was about Cassandra Austen, Jane Austen's sister. And this is her latest novel, inspired by real life people in Jane Austen's life. This is about Anne Sharp and her relationship with Henry and Jane Austen. Anne Sharp was a governess who was a friend of Jane Austen's. And so this is a novel about Anne Sharp. And I'm really looking forward to it. Like I said, I enjoyed Miss Austen, so I'm keen to read this proof. The actual book comes out in June, and it looks like they've done another gorgeous cover. And I think there's going to be a Waterstones special edition of this one, just like they did one for Miss Austen with the sprayed edges. So I'm definitely going to look out for that. And then I ordered the 2 new Persephone books for myself. So those were a new novel, A Well Full of Leaves by Elizabeth Myers, and that's the end paper. I got a couple of the matching napkins as well. I forgot to bring them up with me to show you, but I'm sure you'll see them in some of my Bookstagram pictures soon, because I got the matching napkins that match the end papers for this one, which are really nice. And then I got As It Was and A World Without End by Helen Thomas. These are her 2 memoirs. Helen Thomas was the wife of the poet Edward Thomas. Those are the end papers here. And I'm really interested to read these memoirs. So I'm so glad that Persephone have republished. Both these books sound so interesting. I'm excited to read both of them. And then another Persephone-inspired purchase was this one, The Waters Under the Earth by John Moore. And Persephone are actually going to republish this in the autumn, this coming autumn. But I was quite eager to get a vintage copy of the book before they republish, and if I have time, I'm going to try to read it soon as well. It sounds really interesting. It says, Seldons have occupied the manor of Doddington and Red Squirrels, the great oaks, for 400 years. By the 1950s, the forces of change begin to overwhelm them both. The red squirrels are the first to go, driven out by the grey. The oaks, too, are doomed. A motorway is planned to crash through the manor park. As for the Seldons, a new social order is about to supplant theirs. And it goes on a bit more, the description, but it just sounds like a really interesting read. And knowing that Persephone are bringing this out, I'm sure it will be good, and I'm excited to give it a try. And then I got couple of non-fiction books. So Not Far from Brideshead by the historian and classicist Daisy Dunn, Oxford Between the Wars. So this is interesting because it's really a history of a very particular place in the interwar years, which is a time period of history I'm particularly interested in myself. And I think Daisy Dunn partly looks at Oxford specifically through the lens of Evelyn Waugh and the inspiration behind Brideshead Revisited. So she examines some real people from history who were immortalized in Brideshead Revisited. They inspired some of the characters. And she looks at the politics both within the small world of Oxford University itself and also within the wider world of that time. I'm really fascinated to read this one. I think it sounds very intriguing. Like I said, it's a time period I'm very interested in. Reading about the politics of Oxford University at that time, sort of warring dons, sounds very interesting. But also I like the literary connection to Brideshead Revisited. So I'm just intrigued by this one, and I'm hoping it will be a really good read. And then this nature memoir sounds like just my cup of tea. To Everything a Season, The View from the Fen by Charles Moseley. This reminded me a bit of Ronald Blythe's writing. It sounds like it might be similar because it's generally a collection of reflections and musings, a lot on the natural world, but I think a bit about literature comes into this too. And it just sounds like a gentle kind of book that I will enjoy reading. So I'm looking forward to starting this one, and I think it will make a nice bedside table book to dip in and out of. And then I love the writer Penelope Lively, both her children's books and her adult books. And I realised I hadn't got her most recent collection of short stories that came out a few months ago, I think before Christmas. And I thought I really should get these. So I did, and I'm so pleased. This is a selection of her stories. I think she's chosen them herself, which is interesting. So some are from her very earliest days of writing, and I think maybe one or two have just been published for the first time in this collection that one she's just written. So I'm looking forward to reading this as well. She's such a skilled writer, and I'm interested always in reading good collections of short stories. So I'm excited about that. And then a bit more historical fiction that I'm excited about. This is The Theatre of Marvels by Leanne Dillsworth, and this is set in Victorian London, and it's about a young British black actress and her sort of rise to fame, and I think there's a bit of a mystery that goes on too that takes the heroine into the sort of seedier side of London in Victorian times. And it just sounds like it should hopefully be quite a fast-paced, gripping sort of page-turner. And I do like books that are set in Victorian London, so I'm keen to get to this one as well. And it's fun to read books that are set on the stage too, and in that kind of like the theatrical environment. So I'm looking forward to that. And then I've heard so many people raving about this book, Lessons in Chemistry by Bonnie Garmus. And I think it's meant to be either a TV series or a film. So I'm curious to read it. It's set in the 1960s, and it says, chemist Elizabeth Zott is not your average woman. In fact, Elizabeth Zott would be the first to point out there is no such thing. But it's the early 1960s, and her all-male team at Hastings Research Institute take a very unscientific view of equality. Except for one, Calvin Evans, the lonely, brilliant Nobel Prize nominated grudge holder who falls in love with, of all things, her mind. True chemistry results. But, like science, life is unpredictable, which is why a few years later, Elizabeth Zott finds herself not only a single mother, but the reluctant star of America's most beloved cooking show, Supper at 6. So I'm definitely intrigued by this one, this sort of mix of food and science, and I think it's quite a sort of feminist, empowering story as well. That just sounds like a really intriguing mix to me, so I am looking forward to getting to that hopefully soon as well. And then I picked up this one from Coast to Cove, an artist year in paint and pen by Anna Koska. And this is a companion volume to her first illustrated journal, which I think was called something like From Field to Forest or something like that, which I really liked. And this journal charts a new environment for Anna because she's moved to coastal Devon at the start of this book. So instead of forests and fields, it's really the coast that's around her. And I think that will be a really lovely read. I'm looking forward to her gorgeous illustrations that dot the pages, and also her exploring a new environment and writing about the coast and Devon all through the seasons. Sounds really lovely. This starts in the autumn, so I might save this one to go on my bedside sort of come September, October, and start reading it then and take it through the year with me. But yeah, this looks really beautiful, so I was thrilled to get that. And then one more non-fiction book that I got is this one, Portable Magic, A History of Books and Their Readers by Emma Smith. I'm always interested in books about books. Interestingly, this is a history of the actual physical book rather than what's inside books so much. It's a history of the physical book, which is an intriguing angle. And I'm just looking forward to reading this. It sounds fascinating. So hopefully I'll get to that soon. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this chatty video about some favourite things and of course the new additions to my bookshelves. Let me know if any of these books appeal to you in particular, or if you've read any of these. I'd love to hear your thoughts. But I hope you have a wonderful weekend ahead. Thank you so much for watching, and extra big thanks to those of you who pressed the super thanks button last week. That was so much appreciated. Thank you very much. But yes, thank you to everyone who supports this channel, and I hope you all have a wonderful weekend ahead. I'll see you next week. Goodbye.